What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Let's Build the U.S.S. Enterprise A 2.0 Season 1 Episode 3. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in to today's episode. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me and supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Today we've got about a 15-minute episode. We're going to be diving in right where we left off in Episode 2, and we're jumping right off from where we did the wireframe for the lower hull. So now we're going to work on transitioning from our wireframe to a 3D object. Now remember, one of the things I said was that we're going to be making adjustments to this overall shape. It's going to get a little bit thicker in the front, and it'll get a little bit thinner as we progress backwards to the tail end of the ship. So as you can see what I'm doing, I'm just bringing this out by 3 forward, and you're going to do that going all the way around your circle. Once you've done that, we're going to pick up right from there, and then we're going to do a row of blue concrete going all the way around. Alright, let's bang that out. Normally I just do half, and then with some editing we just skip ahead, but this is so small I can just do it all really fast. It's not a big deal. Alright, that looks pretty good. So now we're going to go down 1 and forward with the cut, and we're going to do a row of white concrete going all the way around. Alright, once you've done that, we're going to be going to the next step, and we're going to do another row of white concrete on the same layer that we just added. We're going to do that going all the way around. And then you're going to go down 1 and forward with the cut, and you're going to do that going all the way around your circle as well. Once you've completed that, we're going to pick up right on the next step. As you can see, we're already turning the front of our lower hull, transitioning it into that 3D shape. One of the questions I get asked all the time on my builds here is like, well, how would you build this build, or how would you do this in another universe? And it's like, here's the thing with what I'm doing here. This isn't something that's like strictly for building starships in Minecraft for Star Trek. You can take this building method and you can apply this to every build that you make in Minecraft, because the process is going to be the same. It's all about working out your proportions, starting with your main proportion object off your build, building that out, and wireframing everything out. This is something I try to teach you guys as I'm going through on my tutorial series, and it might take a little bit of time, but once you learn how to identify these things and start actually wireframing out your builds, you're going to start to notice that, like, yeah, you know, I can do this with anything. But with that being said, there's always going to be some really cool tutorials that I'm going to be able to do in the future, and if there are builds that you guys want to see me do, let me know in the comments. Definitely love hearing from everybody. You can also post your suggestions in the Discord as well. Alright, now picking back up what we got going on here, you can see I'm adding a row going along our very bottom. I went 1 in with a cut, and then I went 1 in with a cut again. Now we're going to start actually trying to wireframe out our transition point for the belly of the lower hull. Now, you're going to see us, we're going to go in, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, we'll make just a couple of changes to this template. I believe we're going to be going in rows of 6. But as we go and progress backwards, you're actually going to see that change a little bit. But we're going to end up going back to it. Because one of the things I've found with building out lower hulls, like a Constitution class refit or even an Excelsior class, you really have to be careful with your transition point. And that if, at least for me, I've found when you start mixing it up, the look of it, it starts to kind of veer away. So basically what I'm getting at is that I've ultimately come to the conclusion that at least with those two builds, staying consistent with the pattern for the belly as opposed to going with a couple of different numbers, like as an example, if we do 3 rows of 6 and then 1 row of 4 and then we go back to 3 rows of 6, it's going to look funky. Now my main reason for doing that is because I'm trying to take into account the cut line, but really what we need to do here on the belly is keeping that outline consistent as we progress backwards. So we've got, we're going to count that out: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually stand corrected. So we went from 9, we're going to bring that down to 8. So now this next row, 5, 6, 7. And like I said, really that should be 8. And we are going to come back to that. But for now, do what I have, because we are going to fix that. But really, the main thing that I want to focus on right now is just getting the outline for the belly of our lower hull in place. Because I learned this doing the Disco Air Enterprise, actually, doing the belly, that building out the belly of the wireframing out the belly of the ship, it's going to save us time in the long run with those transition lines. And it's going to make things a little bit easier. This is one of the advantages that I've come across with just building these things out, is that you come up with better ways of doing it, essentially. And this is not the way that I've done it in the past. This is something that I've done just over the last couple of builds, which is why you'll see a huge difference between my very first Constitution class refit that I've done as opposed to the recent ones. It's because I'm taking the time to wireframe out that belly, and I'm going back and making sure that my template matches from beginning to end, and not veering away and using different numbers as I'm progressing backwards with the cut line. But like I said, you're going to see us a couple of times veer away from that. I think on that row we do 5 and then we go back to 7 or 8. Because, and this is the hard part with Minecraft sometimes, trying to anticipate your cut lines, anticipating how things are going to go. So as you build and you progress as a builder, you start to try to anticipate these things. It's not always going to work out perfectly. Sometimes it's going to take some trial and error, and you know, that's okay. Nobody is perfect. If you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. This is the learning process just to make us better. But at the same time, like I was just saying, you know, these mistakes are vital because they ultimately are going to make us better builders in the long run, going through all these different scenarios and troubleshooting how to fix that. Now, this is a great example of what I mean here. See, right here, because of this row of the 4 or 5 that it is, it's messing up this whole progression line, and it's actually making it progress just a little bit faster right here, and then it goes back to what it was. But what that single row is going to do is it's going to mess up our whole progression point as we go backwards, and it's going to bring us up higher a lot sooner than what it would have if we had a consistent row by row that they all match up. This is one of the reasons I like showing my mistakes, because this is literally the bread and butter of how I get better at building on Minecraft. Making mistakes, coming up with different solutions. What can we do to attack this problem? And then it's just a matter of coming up with different solutions to identify that. Now, I do briefly want to get back in what we got going on here. You can see on the last two rows on the left, rather than progressing outwards, we're just going straight back. And don't worry about everything matching up right now. This is really just an outline to help us get where we need to end up on. But once we have this in place, then we're going to start building in the sides. But it's vital to have this bottom section down first, so that when we start building in our sides, we can anticipate where all of our cuts are going to end up going and everything. And it's going to make this whole area be a lot smoother than some of the ways that I've done it before. And see, some of you might be thinking like, well, Zero, that row of 5, it's really not messing up the progression line all that much, but to me, it totally is. Like, I can totally see it. But at this point, it wasn't something that was necessarily standing out to me so much. That's one of the things with building too. It's like, it's easy to point out a mistake looking at it with a fresh set of eyes. So basically what I'm getting at is, if you keep on making mistakes and you're not sure what to do, take a step away from it and come back to it. Because having a fresh set of eyes, or having a second set of eyes looking at something, can be so helpful sometimes, because a mistake can be staring at you right smack in the middle of what you're doing, and you don't even really notice the mistake or necessarily what the repercussions of that mistake are going to mean until later on in the build. This is why you guys see me really being very ginger with how I build these ships out. I take my time. You don't see a lot of it because I edited it out, but I just did it here where I did a pan around. It's because once I build something, I analyze it, I compare it to what off of my concept art, I compare the proportions and everything, and doing those things, I mean, it's really helped me out quite a bit. So now I'm going to start working on bringing back our hull. So you can see I'm going off of the second cut, and I'm bringing it back to the third cut. We're going to try out the same thing on this side. Now we're just going to do a builder line straight across, just to double check, make sure everything's lined up. We're looking pretty good. So basically what we're going to do is that we're going to take this whole hull line and we're going to bring it back to that cut line. We're not going in one, we're just stretching it out. So very, very simple what we're doing right now. It's not rocket science. If you're making a mistake here, it's because you're not following the correct step, and you need to go back and just bring back this line to this established cut line that we have. As long as you're doing that, you're in good shape. And you do that going all the way across the top. All right, we've got the top done. So now we're going to do the bottom section, and it's the same thing. We're just going to bring it back to that cut line. Actually, I stand corrected. I do want to correct that. We're only going to be bringing this underside right here up to this cut line right here. Very important. Sorry about that. Got a little overzealous. We're going to bring that going straight across. Now we're going to go up one with the cut. So now that I'm actually building it out, hopefully you guys can see what I'm trying to achieve here, and why I built out and wireframed out the belly of the lower hull, because I'm using a combination of the template of our circle for the front as well as our template for the bottom to get those transition points in. And see, by doing this, it's going to make this a lot easier on us. And now we can start to anticipate how these cut lines are actually going to look. And that's not looking too bad. That looks pretty clean, actually. But you want to make sure this last step right here, after we brought this back, you want to do the same thing on both sides. And the same thing here, we bring this back, and we're going to do the same thing on the right. And once we've done that, that's going to wrap up today's episode. We're rocking and rolling. We got a lot of work to do on this thing, but we're going to bang it out one episode at a time. I'm pretty happy with the progression that we're making so far, but no, if you did enjoy this content, if you guys can help me out, hit that like and subscribe button and helping me and supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. And new subscribers, don't forget to hit notifications on so you always get notified when those new videos drop. And speaking of new videos, you can always catch my new Minecraft videos dropping Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, if you do have any questions, be sure to drop a comment below or in Discord. Definitely love hearing from everybody. But that's going to do it for me today. So I just want to thank everybody again, and I hope everyone has a happy and safe week. And of course, what did you make in Minecraft today? Post your photos in the Discord so the community can see them.